Hi, my name is Symone Salib. I am a muralist, a street artist, and a trauma-informed educator. Some things about me are that I love public art, I love people, and I love the things that centrally connect us to our humanity. I feel like I'm a person that's always loved art. I'm someone who's since I'm young, very creative. I didn't grow up in a space where I think I'd ever seen someone that was your job to be an artist. I started really my career in public art, and that was through street art. And that was just because I wanted to. I moved to Philly in 2015, and I've always loved the ways that the streets are kind of like a gallery. I think that's something that always inspired me. And when I moved here, I was like, yo, how do you get involved with that? Who do you ask? What do you do? And I feel like I'm someone who's self-taught. So I was just driven, and I was asking questions, and I was curious, and I was just trying to find my way, because it's hard. And I don't think there's any one, this is how you do it to become an artist.
I'm really big into reading these last few years. I feel like I kind of fell off. I think after college, I think when you're you have to do so much work around writing and reading, I think I got a little ugh, I don't want to do this. And I feel as someone who is so your work is so attached to your hands, sometimes picking up a book is hard, but I'm big into audiobook. I think someone who really inspires me, I would say bell hooks. I think a lot of the work that I do is definitely because it is so people-centric, it is definitely rooted in love, you know? And to reference things all about love, I think that should be required reading for the world at large. I think about reading Of Mice and Men when I was in high school, and I'm I don't understand how that could feel possibly more important than this Black woman scholar that is coming through with something that I think for example, I feel how many of us are taught how to love. Do you know what I mean? And I think if more of us were given the tools to show up as a better friend, as a better partner, as a better community member, as a better family member, I think that's so impactful on a reverberation scale. I think my identity definitely plays a part in how I view the world. I think as a daughter of immigrants, as a woman, as a queer person, I'd watch the ways that people around me are oppressed. And I feel I think about that through so much of how I view the world, right? And I think there's a lot of hard stuff that is attached to that, but at the same time, I think that there's rage that's there because of it. And at the same time, I think there's so much beauty and so much joy on the other side. I love street art for how accessible it is. Wheat paste is something that a lot of people can just make in their house. I think there's a lot of art forms that are inaccessible. As someone who's community taught, I really love murals for the ways that there's a lot of the work that I do has community engagement attached to it. So it's the bringing it together of so many voices, which I think is its own skill in itself, kind of almost qualitative research. It's you have to take the insight from so many people to bring together this greater whole, or make something at the end of the day. Facilitation, I feel is part of my art form. And also I think as a trauma-informed educator, the ways that I think you can inspire folks to create as a way to move through things and move through your own emotions, and maybe make a choice to be more vulnerable and honest either with yourself or people in your life. And it's not always about what you're making, but the fact that you're kind of trying to do something. Someone support me in this. This is just because I want to. Yeah, so I feel as an artist, there's two sides. There's corporate jobs, there's clients that pay me to do things, and then there's things that I do for myself, you know? And I feel this is one of those. Sometimes people pay me for it, but not all the time, you know? And that's okay. I feel I put my time into it, and your time is your labor, but at the same time, it's what are you doing when you have a free moment, or what do you want to do, you know? And I feel this could be in that realm. What do I think about Philly? Do I think Philly support artists? I think in a lot of ways, yes. I think that we're like inherently a very creative city, and there's a lot of like history and like legacy attached to that. And like, I think the city could be doing more to fund artists better, to be honest. And I could have a lot of hot takes on that, but like, I think more or less like the city does care. I wish there was sometimes a higher price tag that was attached to it. I think some people are like, oh, like, here's this project that you're gonna do. How's $500? I'm like, do you know how much rent is outside? Do you know how much groceries cost? Do you know how much time this is gonna take? And I think like that part can feel hard. And I'm like, some people like, I think view it as like a hobby. And like, I'm like, no, this is like someone's job. And also you should pay them on time. I feel like I've lived my entire adult life here. I moved here when I was 22. When I moved here, it was like right after college. And I feel like I really like found my footing. I feel like Philly made me like grow up in a certain sense, you know, in a way that was like beautiful, in a kind of tough love way, but at the same time with like a lot of care. I love the folks in Philly. Someone recently said to me, people in Philly are kind, but they're not nice. And you know what? I love that. I would take somebody who is kind-hearted and has a good heart over someone that has like niceties. You know what I mean? Like, I want someone to tell me how it is. I want someone to be honest with me. And I feel like that's how like so many of the folks are in the city. And that's also why I like naturally like get along with them. I'm like, same, yo. Yeah, it feels sweet. Having a studio is such a privilege, and it's also like such a big part of being able to do more with your art practice. And I think being able to find spaces that are affordable and consistent, and like where the people you're renting from or whatever, however you're in there, like respect what you're doing and aren't like just trying to get more money from you. I think just like as a way to like bring people together to create and like to spend time with one another and build community. I'm definitely going to be doing more as the spring comes. I kind of had a pause for the winter because the snow was horrible. But yeah, just as a way to get people creative. I want to do more. I've done some printmaking workshops with linoleum in the past. And I would love to do a watercolor workshop in the near future. But yeah, those are things that I'm looking forward to. I just worked with a local brewery called Triple Bottom Brewery. They're a women-owned brewery that works with previously incarcerated folks a lot of times. And they do a cohort program where they bring people into the brewery. I think they like teach them like skills on like how to work in that industry. And then from there, they can kind of look at it as like an internship. And they design a beer as a cohort every time as a collective. And I helped design the can that the beer is inside of for this cohort that just happened. So it's actually coming out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really excited. The beer is called Noble Chaos. It has notes of malt and notes of orange. I also love a beer, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to work with them. This is very cute. And I really love how the design came out. And it like is cool because it's like the vision of all the people in this cohort together. I think that's really important. And also I wanna like fuel conversation. Like, I think that a lot of people talk because they want to be heard. And I feel like I want to ask questions that can fuel conversation to maybe propel your brain to like move in a different direction. Whether that be like things that other people have said to me that have stayed with me, or things that like I want there to be a conversation. Like this says, be a person that stands up in moments of injustice. I think we're like at a spot where a lot of people are like scared to speak up about the things that they feel because they're worried about backlash. And I'm like, hey, like we like cannot be people who are silent. Like if you have something, especially if you come from like a space of privilege, like bro, like please speak up, you know? Or even things that are like, just like about like reproductive rights and like women's rights and like human rights. Like everyone should have the option of a safe and accessible abortion. Like
yo, like this is just like on a healthcare like level. And I know we like live in the US where healthcare is like already like really fucked, you know? And I think like as women and as like people with the uterus, like that is like even more like exacerbated. But like, or like this piece that a friend of mine, Roxy, said, art is inherently political, especially during transformative moments in history. I feel like this like came from something that Roxy said, and I cannot say enough how like deeply I like resonate with that. How I think that like we're in a moment, and I think people really try to separate like the art and the politics that are attached to it. And I'm like, that's like, I don't think like as artists we are like visual anthropologists of our time. And I think like it is a disservice to think that like what you're doing and what you're documenting has nothing to do with what's going on around us in your everyday life, you know?
Things to look forward to is look out for workshops that I have coming up, and come make art with me. Come to the studio.